in short term and without losing the this thing focus on long term. Okay, coming back to this minority stakeholder interest, my question is for Mr. Santosh. How can an independent director ensure that the interest of minority stakeholders remain protected? What's your take on that?
Yes, yeah, thank you. Yeah, Mr. Murliji has clearly, enumerated in detail all the, responsibilities and duties of an independent director. Out of that, taking care of the interest of minority shareholders is a very important one. Minority shareholders, actually, not stakeholders. Even part of shareholder is also a stakeholder. So, minority stakeholders, shareholders are the people who have invested money into the company and for mainly for earning something, like dividends or more share. When the share prices go up, they can sell the share and earn money. So that is the intention of minority shareholders. So we have to, as an independent director, it's a duty to protect their interest. So one thing is whenever, because generally there are thousands of shareholders, minority shareholders, and everybody cannot interact with the company, or the company cannot give importance to each one of them. So it is the duty ID to take care that proper dividends are, distributed, and the profitability of the company is properly shown in the P&L account and balance sheet. So that they are getting the right dividend. The other thing is the share prices are not getting volatile because of other reasons, like insider trading and other things. So that care has to be taken. And the other thing is the UPSI, the unpublished price sensitive information should not be leaked out of the boardroom beforehand. So generally what happens, some things happen and people some people get benefited, and majority of them are at a loss. One more issue is regarding this IPO and FPO. Whenever these IPOs and FPO comes, the pricing of those things, that is also decided by the committee. But the independent directors should see to that such the pricing is optimal and realistic. So unnecessary, generally what happens, the tendency is to increase the price, and later on we see when the shares are listed, it suddenly drops down, and there is a lot of loss to the shareholders. So such things should be avoided. So that is one. There are so many cases. If you go through the media, you can see a lot of cases where such things happened. One example is Paytm also. Then there are other small issues which naturally has to be taken care by the board, and independent directors can contribute in that. And as a stakeholder relationship committee is there, which is primarily for that. So issuing a request from and giving this one opportunity to shareholders to speak up during AGMs or EGMs. They can put forth their views. That is, those are all small issues which which will generally taken care by the secretarial department. But independent directors can overlook those things and see those things what is happening. So in brief, these are the issues which need to be emphasized on.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Yeah, it's confidentiality and giving proper, no, maybe you can say what they are authorized to have, they should be given that.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And coming back to one more question, Ms. Rama, for you. There are a lot many independent director who wants to join the board. So what all no, key academic qualifications or traits they should have when they go for this independent director appointments?
That is what is the talk of the town. I just started saying that the qualifications, what is required for an statutory auditor, are generally the qualifications you are looking for an independent director. It starts from the top of the list. Line is ethics and independence. That's the first prime considering reason when you take an independent director. That's on the top of the list. So a person having ethics and independence is the person who is first can be sitting in the board. So when I say independence is not just to be seen on paper, but has to be felt in reality also. Just somebody who is not related to the promoter in terms of company law, in terms of SEBI requirement, but still being close to the promoter, will not it's a substance over the form, will not fit into the criteria of independent director. That's the first quality which a management should be, or the promoter should be looking for in an independent director. The second is subject matter expertise. You could come from a different subject. I could come from a different subject. So we all come from different, subject matter experts. The subject in which we are, that is the expertise anybody would expect from a person. So HR person comes with their strength in HR practices. Somebody in assets and cyber security will come in that practices. And people like me from finance and compliance will come with our expertise. So everybody is not expected to know everything. You are a subject matter expert. You can work on it. But having said that, there are some general skill sets which is required without any distinction between the set. So, for example, I proudly say in all my forums, when I speak to people, that I am not from a technical background. I can afford to miss not knowing the technology. I cannot, but I'm saying to a larger extent. But a basic requirement like reading and understanding the financial statement, finding the fine lines, the read between the lines, the red flags in the financial statement is a must required attribute to be sitting in an independent director, because unless and until you are able to read that financial statement, boardroom is all about numbers. End of the day we talk everything, but it trickle down to finally bottom line and what we have contributed in terms of quantitative numbers. And today we are talking about qualitative numbers on ESG reporting also. So it is financial numbers, how well you are in understanding those balance sheet, P&L, where the money is coming in cash flow as from operating activity, financing activity, and so on and so forth. Apart from that, what we look at is a general soft skills, what we'll expect in any employment, like how well you are able to get along, your people skills, your ability to adapt, your ability to understand things as fast as possible, the ability to capture the latest trends in the market in terms of technology, because today technology is taking through far and wide, how we are able to do that. The boardroom is all about asking questions, and asking the right questions, and asking them in the right way. So I cannot be a confrontative. First you have to take the board into confidence that many a times this I said, as a statutory auditor, what I do with my client, I'm expected to do in my job also. Because when we ask questions, first people will come with the, whenever we do an audit, we have a professional skepticism. We don't doubt, we are not, the auditors are only a watchdog and not a bloodhound. So the same thing should apply. You are sitting in the board and asking the right questions. So the professional skepticism should be there in, looking through the papers which has come for the boardroom discussion and the proposals presented, the growth factors, what they are considering, all those things, whether you want to get into expansion. So all those things from a scene, from a perspective of a bird's eye view. I think Muralidharan sir said exactly, you don't have to be attached because you are an independent director. So it is like, Bhagavad Gita's essence, you are detached, attached person. So you don't see from that aspect of you own everything. You are seeing from a third person, from a bird's like like a Garuda, you're above the, like an eagle, you're above the clouds and you're seeing things. So for you, those disturbances are not seen. That is how we have to look at that. So the ability to see things which the promoter is not seeing, or the fellow board members are not seeing, because they will be looking at profit. So profit in short term, when we talk about in financial management, a profit in short term need not be good for longer term, for the sustainability aspect of the business, for the long term running of the organization. So you have to, boardroom is all about looking at a longer vision, for looking at a long-term perspective. So let's leave these the day-to-day affairs to the management, and the board should be able to concentrate on what is sustainable for the organization, what is good for them in the longer term. And that is something as an independent director, in fact, for that matter, even as an executive director, the board member should be able to see. If you're looking, as sir said, yes, it's a quarter-on-quarter business. But having said that, in the process of taking, it's like, killing a golden goose. In the quarter-on-quarter discussion, are we killing the growth of the company for longer term? Are we going to hamper the growth of the company? Is what something an independent director has to see. He or she can see, because they are not attached with the management or with the promoters. They are seeing from the larger perspective, from a distant perspective. Interpersonal skill, this is something I see in my classrooms also to my students, which applies to us all through our life, even till the last breath. The interpersonal skill is what is going to be very, very relevant in whatever we do. So it is a but natural skill which is expected, being disagreeable without having being you can disagree but not in a disagreeable fashion. That is what should be the mantra. I can question, but the question should be put it in such a way, because boardroom is all about asking questions, right questions in the right way. So the promoter will also understand your intention if you are able to put forward things in such a way which they may not have seen in their hindsight. That is what the kind of confidence we are going to develop with the fellow board members and the promoters is what is going to be very, very relevant, which I see in my board, literally. And industry perspective, I have been saying, the industry perspective, whether we come from a different industry or from a different set, when we are sitting in that board, we should be able to understand what that industry, what is the future of that industry, how the competitors are functioning, what is going to be the future of this industry 10 years down the line. You have to be well equipped to know the information available in the market over long-term perspective. So that is something, and we, as he said, lifelong learning, for us, every learning we do for the, independent directorship would be relevant for us in our professional life. Otherwise, also not being an independent director, bringing a fresh thought, fresh perspective to the decision making. You don't have to agree with the crowd just because the majority is agreed to that. You can bring in your perspective and say, these are the pros and cons I see in this particular discussion. And